politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the feed. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Rockingham, and welcome to the feed. Here we are, it's Mike and Marty. Today we're joined by Amber Paris and Cynthia Parker. We're going to talk a little bit about the art scene coming up at Main Street Arts this weekend. It is, May is Art Month in Bellows Falls, so we're culminating Art Month with a lot of art projects this weekend. And so these guys are going to give us some insight and input into what's happening at Main Street Arts. But first, Marty, with local events.
Local events. So not only is it celebrating art this month, it apparently is 80s month too at the Opera House. Because the movie that's coming, not that it was originally from the 80s, is Top Gun Maverick. So that starts on May 27th and is going to run through June 7th. And then the classic movie tonight is truly an 80s classic. It's The Breakfast Club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. I'm reveling in the whole 80s thing this week. And that's sponsored by Greater Falls Insurance. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, take a break, have a fun time, and go see Top Gun Maverick at the Opera House. And that's all I have for local events.
Okay.
I'm keeping it brief because I know these guys have a really fun weekend planned at Main Street Arts.
Yeah. So I guess first, we have a show coming, or a show that's been actually in process for the month now, for the month of May, called Emergence. And I don't know if we have and maybe you could talk a little bit about that. What is it? How did it come about?
Sure. So Emergence opened on Earth Day at Main Street Arts, so it's been up for, I guess about 4 weeks now.
Yeah.
And the conversation started with one of the Main Street Arts board members back in March, I think. I was there on a completely unrelated matter, and Charles mentioned that they were going to participate in Vermont Open Studio Tour weekend, which is this weekend. And did I know anybody who might want to show in the gallery? And I was like, oh, well, maybe. And so I put feelers out to about 45 different female identifying artists that I know. And 9 people responded. And so that's us. That's us who put this show together. So we met a few times in March and April. And what I really envisioned was a collaborative, connective, engaging show that really, incorporated the public participating, and that was really this collaborative vision among, that there are actually 10 of us total. So that's how Emergence kind of came to be. We were all really hoping for something that helped. We're all emerging right now.
Yeah,
I think the
true.
past 2.5 years have been really a challenge in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people, and so we liked the idea of emerging from that.
I guess for the people who aren't familiar with the show, what is the concept of what is emerging in your show?
Well, the emergence, the idea of it came out of the collaboration, which Amber set up for us. So we all had a conversation around the picnic table, and we were like, what do we want to do? Like, so many amazing, competent, creative women all coming together, and it was amazing to see how open everybody was to being like, okay, well, what will we do? And so we threw a whole bunch of ideas around and came up with, eventually, it's the idea that we were going to do an installation, and then it became a puppet. And then we were like, okay, we're doing a phoenix. And then out of that, we were like, well, what do we call the show? Because it's not just the phoenix, it's this whole show. And then I don't even know who said Emergence. It might have been you.
It wasn't me, but I'm not sure who it was. It's been such an interesting process. It's not always easy to collaborate
Oh, I bet.
with a lot of people. Sometimes it's just like you're just like working through hurdle after hurdle. And this has been so incredibly seamless. And it's almost like these people were just drawn together because it wanted to work easily. So I don't remember who came up with the term emergence, but it really was. We're all sort of emerging and coming back into having art shows and art events and the ability to collaborate and engage the public in the way that we've been able to through the show.
And do you think that maybe that's part and parcel of why it was a little bit easier to collaborate, because people haven't been able to? So it's like, okay, you know, the usual stuff that kind of gets in the way didn't come in because people are like, I just am excited to be working with
There's a
other
real
people.
willingness. There was
Yeah.
a feeling of like everybody was really willing to be open to this idea of collaboration. And I think it was, people were like, okay, for me, I was just like so excited to be playing with some women. You know, I'm also a mom, you know, so you get really hyper-focused on being a mom. And most of us were moms. And so to be like, oh, we get to like play with each other and like make art and get to know each other.
And who were the other? I know you have a list, so.
I do.
Yeah.
So we are Anya Bredbeck, Vale Burns, Candace Jensen, Mitra Kamush, Colin Leach, Evie Levitt, Fiona Morehouse, Cynthia and myself, and Rachel Pertessi.
Nice.
And you're all very local, right?
For
For the most part?
For the most part, I think Cynthia probably lives the furthest away, and
I
Vale
live
in Brattleboro.
I live in Brattleboro, and then there's
I would say
Mitra Kamut.
Mitra
Who's-
recently came from Afghanistan.
Oh, neat.
So she's new to the area. I think she's living in Guilford right now while she secures more permanent housing. So I guess, Mitra's a little further away than Brattleboro.
Yeah. Well, but still, that's really, really local.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like the process itself was, at least it was a major part of the project.
It's huge.
I mean, it was the process of you guys, of you people coming together and then creating this event. I'm not even actually sure. It was really as important as the event itself. Yeah.
Yeah, it was sort of like an excuse to get together. But we've created something that's going to be really exciting. Like we're gonna, this Sunday, well right now there's a show up and there's a lot of
Right.
beautiful art. And then this Sunday we're gonna do a whole ritual event. So we're gonna parade the Phoenix puppet around. We created this beautiful nest. And people are invited to write down, you know, stuff they're carrying around that they want to let go of, emotional stuff, and put it in the nest, and we'll burn it, you know, do a little ritual pyre. And then on the wings of the Phoenix has prayer flags. And so people have been invited to write stuff on their hopes and dreams and like just kind of like move through some of the like intensity of this time and, you know, just kind of be more hopeful.
Yeah. That's
So-
amazing. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I part of this has already occurred though. Hasn't the phoenix emerged from the nest? I was there one day on, maybe I was misinformed,
Yeah.
but I was there, I think it was probably 3 weeks ago, and someone had said, oh, the phoenix has emerged from the nest. And
Yeah, I guess the Phoenix has emerged from the nest, but now it's going to go for a little fly.
It's going to spread its wings,
It's going to
literally.
fly down Main Street in Sexton's River.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
But it has been an evolving process. When the show opened, we initially thought we weren't opening the show until May. And when Charles reached out and said, hey, how about Earth Day? We were like,
we
I
have,
think we can do that. So we started with a nest and an egg. And so it has been this process of just letting things build as the show goes on. And there have been there's been some workshops that have happened at Main Street Arts as part of the show. Artists have offered their time and talents to just open to the public and do mono printing and clay egg rattles.
yeah. That's the day I was there. They were doing the clay egg. They were at least starting to create the clay egg rattles. That's
Yes.
an interesting idea too.
Yeah, that was Fiona Morehouse that led that workshop. Yeah,
And they're going to fire those this weekend.
in the nest. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hope.
I just think I'm fascinated because I think it's so, the symbolism is really good. I mean, and it's the way you've brought the various elements together it's really cool. I was thinking, I didn't realize the prayer flags. That's sort of a
Yeah.
Tibetan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
I think it's also, and maybe this was the intent, or maybe it's just the byproduct, it's also kind of the reemergence of Main Street Arts as well. They were dormant for, most of the COVID time, and we've had, I think we had the chairman of the board on, a few months ago, talking about Main Street Arts kind of wanted to go back to its roots, which when Mary Hepburn started it was really about local artists and community events and connections, and it really became the hub. When she first started, it was the hub of Saxons River, and it was a hub of a lot of activity. So it sounds like you're recreating that spirit.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, my connections to Main Street Arts go back several years. My kids have been involved in a lot of theater events there. And so I think, community art can be such a vital part of, the glue that holds a community together. It has the capacity to do so much. And so when you have an organization like Main Street Arts, I feel a lot of investment, even though I'm not a Saxons River, I don't live there. It feels really important to utilize these spaces we have to really put those threads out into the community and find ways to connect people through the different art forms. It was really exciting to me, I think to a lot of us, to be this initial show that opened in the space after the place had been dormant for the past 2+ years. So that also, it was definitely a piece of the conversation, emerging and opening back up to the world.
Yeah, and we were given a tour. We all got together. We didn't know what we were going to be doing all together. And we were given a tour of the space next to it. There's a big building.
The
has
dish.
The dish. It has all this
okay.
stuff, including this big pile of fabric. And both Amber and I are fabric artists. I'm a quilter, and Amber's, I don't know, she
I don't know what I would
paints
call
with
myself.
fabric. And so we were like, fabric. And so, yes, that was part of what percolated into this. Like, what are we going to, here are the materials. What are we going to make with it? And first we were going to, make an installation, and then it turned into the Phoenix. And so we actually did take that fabric, cut it up, and turn it into feathers. That was part of the community. We invited the community in to help feather the Phoenix.
I remember, that was probably the day I was there.
So how did can you talk a little bit about the process? That's the kind of finished process of the Phoenix, but can you talk a little bit about, I know that there's a paper mache component, and how did the Phoenix become the Phoenix?
So we decided on puppet, and I said, I'll do the structure for the head, because I have made parade puppets before. I'm a big fan of making things. And then Anya Brebeck, she also was like, yeah, puppet. And so we collaborated on that. So I made an armature, showed up at her house, and we got to spend the day putting paper on it and paper macheing it. And then I handed it over to her. She's a painter, and she did a beautiful job painting it. And then brought it back, and showed up, figured out how to get it on a pole. And then we took these reams of gold fabric that were in the basement at Main Street Arts and stretched it out, and Anya cut them into wings. And then we invited people in, and we ripped up fabric and tied it on.
It's really
It
striking.
emerged.
It emerged. But it's quite the striking puppet. I mean,
Yeah.
seeing it up close, we have some images, but
Yeah.
it's just, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Well done.
And
I'm
we're
guessing
gonna-
it's something you need to see it in person to really fully, it's hard to probably,
Yeah.
to get the full effect from the images.
Yeah, the images is just like a hint
Yeah.
of how awesome it
Yeah,
is.
like the-
Yeah.
We're gonna get a chance to, I guess, at the 4th of July in Saxons River.
Oh,
It's
you're
gonna
gonna
come
bring a
out
parade?
again.
Yes.
And then also at the Green Puppets in the Green Mountains with Sandglass Theater in the fall. We're gonna. We've been invited. They saw the
Oh, that's
puppet, and they were
great,
like,
yeah.
"We want your puppets."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
Phoenix
you've
gets to
arrived
emerge.
if you come to the
Yeah, we've
Saxons.
emerged.
You've emerged if you get to the Saxons River 4th of July.
It's true, it's
That
true.
is the
That's
deal.
big-
That's
and-
one
and
of the
again,
wonders of the world.
The connection to the Main Street Arts drive behind that, they were always they always had the coolest floats in
Yeah, totally.
in the section for 4th of July. So
Yeah,
to
it-
bring that tradition back
Yeah,
is really cool.
yeah.
Wonderful project. Now tell us about, I guess, how do people get to Main Street Arts on Sunday to experience this event?
Well, I would back up just a little bit and say that
Okay.
there's also something going on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah.
There will be a few of us there from 3 to 5 doing a really informal artist chat for anybody who wants to sit down and just get a little bit more information about process or, what drives our art. I know I'll be there, and Mitra, who came from Afghanistan, I'm really excited to hear what she has to say about her process, and I think Vale Burns is going to be there. So that's happening from 3 to 5 on Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And then Sunday, beginning at 4, the Phoenix will leave the gallery. We are going to have some children doing some music, like some percussion, and it will parade
Yeah,
on Main Street.
Yeah, we're gonna just, I don't know.
We'll see where the Phoenix wants to fly.
We'll figure out a route and go around.
There you go. There you go.
And during that time too, the Nest will exit the gallery to the fire pit behind Main Street Arts.
Okay.
And that's where we'll have the ritualistic fire and the burning of the nest, the burning of people who had written down, what they want to let go of. And then we're having a closing party following all of that in the gallery for the last day of the show.
Nice.
So many of
Nice.
the artists will be there
Oh, good.
Yes, I think a lot of us will be there on Sunday.
to connect with each other and with whoever comes out.
Mhm.
And then I believe is there a craft sale going on as well
Mhm.
that weekend? I'm assuming that all the proceeds benefit Main Street Arts for the craft sale?
I think
There's some
Or is it
percentage. They're taking
a percentage?
some
Well,
percentage.
yeah, probably
Yeah,
not all the
I-
proceeds. That'd be, that'd be a
Yeah.
little bit greedy, but.
I know my children are participating in the craft show and they did not agree to give all their money away. But I think they're having a plant sale as well.
Oh, nice.
And I think that there was an intention for music to happen. I don't know where.
I know
they're at with
that, I saw that on Friday night, Liz Rogers is doing a concert.
Oh, yeah.
And so tickets are available. They're $18 in advance or $20 at the door. And you can get tickets at mainstreetarts.org if you go to their website.
And then I think they're doing some sort of technical rehearsal for the Book of Alice too, aren't they? I had read somewhere where they're painting sets and doing some work on that this weekend too. So if you go out to Saxon's River,
It's gonna be hopping.
yeah, stuff happening all
Yeah.
weekend.
So moving forward, so this connection that you all have made, moving forward, do you see that you might collaborate more moving forward, or another type of event with these same artists, or is that like can't even think about that yet? Have to get through the weekend.
I assume we've made some connections. I assume that opportunities will come out of that. And most of us are used to working solo, or I am anyways. I think most of us just work in our own studios. It's the way artists normally function. And so it's exciting to see like what's possible if we put our energy together. Like this was definitely more than any one of us would have created on our own. So, and I think Amber's call out to everybody really created a space for that to happen. Yeah. And her managing all the emails. It was a big deal.
It's a job to manage email.
Yeah.
But I think there's something nice that has happened. For me, I can speak personally. I have typically worked solo on my personal art practice. I do a lot of community engagement art that feels a little different than this. And I resisted collaborative things like this in the past because I thought it would be too much work or that it wouldn't unfold easily. And this has been such an amazing experience, and the energy has been so nourishing that it's been a great learning process for me to see how well it can work. And it's a good learning process around not being too attached to things, being able to let go and work with the group. And often something even better can emerge when you're willing to let go and listen to other people's ideas too.
I think that might be the key to collaboration, to be honest, is to not to hold too tight.
It was a challenge for me, for sure. Like that was for me. Like it was very easy for me to say yes to making a puppet. The more challenging thing was to be saying yes to other people making the puppet. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like stand back and like let that happen. But like it was easier. It was like a nice entryway into it because I trusted these women. There was so many, really talented, creative people. So.
Nice. So we're down to about 4 minutes left. So maybe you might want to each speak to where people could find your individual art, and if they were looking
I'm at amberparis.net. I'm involved in some collaborative work with a group called Sonic Blanket, and we're going to have a presence at First Fridays in Brattleboro throughout. First Fridays actually run through December this year. And you can find my art at Main Street Arts this weekend.
So I have a presence in Brattleboro. I made a big Chicken Rex painting on Harmony parking lot, I painted that last fall, so that's visible. I have work at the Harmony Collective Gallery in Brattleboro and at houghtonart.com. I make t-shirts. I'm going to have t-shirts for sale this weekend at Main Street Arts and also at the Harmony Collective downtown and on my website. I also got involved in the Brattleboro Words Trail. I did the maps for that, and so those are visible downtown Brattleboro.
Nice.
They're going to be at the Amtrak station coming.
Great.
And I know you don't have a definite exactly what you're doing, but you are collaborating with the farmers market to do some.
I am with the Greater Falls Market. I'm going to be, but pre-COVID, I had done some community engagement work with the market, just looking at doing, like art outreach work. And so I've been in conversation with Janice Leary-Jones, who has a real presence at the market. And my vision is to do some kind of mapping with the community where we can really see connections between where our food and our products are coming from and where we, root ourselves. But yeah, the details of it are still percolating.
That's good. It seems like when the details percolate, we get a pretty cool,
Yes,
pretty cool event.
stuff. Amazing.
So we'll just reiterate that this weekend starts Friday with Liz Rogers' concert at 7 o'clock. On Saturday, Main Street Arts is open from 10 to 5, craft sale on the lawn. The emerging artists will be talking from 3 to 5. And then Sunday, again, Main Street Arts open from 10 to 5, craft sale. Phoenix Parade starts at 4 p.m. The fire, I would say the fire probably would people anticipated about 5:30 or 4? Starts at
4:30, I think was the.
How long will the Phoenix fly?
That's what I was, I wasn't sure how far the Phoenix was going
flight.
before it was coming back for the fire.
I think the nest will burn fairly quickly, but we might keep a little fire going. And the Phoenix, we're gonna parade it around, and then we'll stake it in place, so it'll be there for the whole time.
Perfect.
And then at the end, we'll get to parade it again because we need to move it back inside. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So there you go, folks. You've got your weekends planned. Just go to Main
Thank you
Street
guys
Arts.
for coming on. It was really a pleasure to meet you and to have you on, and I hope you'll come on again sometime and talk about your next project. And maybe we'll get in earlier in the process.
And document.
We'll send you more
some of the
more
magic.
pictures.
Yeah.
More pictures.
All right,
Thank
well,
you.
that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. This has been The Feed.
Bye,
community.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty